What up, though? This is Gktv Yikers, Pro with the Tools, episode 10 or 9. I don't know. It's going to be one of them. Once I load it up, it'll be the right one. But check this out. We have a session, and the name of this session right here is a Yikers song that's going to be on my upcoming Dark Synthwave project for the top of 2024. This one is called Dark Light, and I just loaded this one up. Alright, so when I open up a project, I will import the files or audio, and as I can see on the screen right here, it was in said folder, and I will highlight the files that I need and add them and open them, but I already got it. I'm just showing y'all how it's done. And once I have it all on my page, if it's out of order, I will start lining it up from top to bottom. And always, you know, to create a easier and quick workflow, you want to start, if it was a hip-hop track, this would be 808s, kick drums, snare drum, hi-hats, and so forth. But, you know, for the synthwave track, we just have the kick drums, the snare drums, the hi-hats, the running bass, a bell synth, another bell, a counter melody. We got some more ear candy. Then we got FX, noise splashes, whoop whoop. And just say, once I'm creating like the music in Fruity Loops, and I will just, sometimes I'll decide to assign more than one sounds on a said specific track number, like this. Oh, it's not hooked up, but this sample and that sample is sharing the same track number, track 6, just because, you know, this sample is chopped up in 2. So that's what's going on with these last 2 tracks at the bottom here. We have like different sounds sharing the same channel, and which is cool because if you know if you know how to do it, these is not two, like a piano then a guitar sharing the same track, because, you know, that's a whole lot of dynamics and things and whatnot and EQs and separate. No, I'm just, you know, these is like vocal samples, like screams and yelps, or freaking like lasers, or noise splashes, or wind effects, or all the sorts. Yep. So once I have the track all lined up, all set up from top to bottom, I will open up my mix window. This is the mix window. This is the edit window. I like to have them both open at the same time, but if I don't need this in a way, once you press on here, this will go in the background. You press on this will come in the foreground. But if you want it out the way, you minimize it. You want to bring it back, pull it back up. It's a good use to have them, to get familiar with both of these windows, because this is your edit page. This is where you're going to do your recording on. This is where you're going to look at. Okay, I think my hi-hats need some EQ. So I hit this and that's highlighted. Then I go to this page right here and that's highlighted, and I can start putting this EQ. Like, I'm more concentrated. This is to control with all my plugins and whatnot, and this page is to look at what's being done, and, you know, and if you're putting lyrics on the bottom, and that's what those pages is for. So it's a good thing to get used to them and start implementing both of those in your workflow. Okay, yes. So all that's said and done, I'm sorry to go back over that a couple of times. By the way, that's Yikers on all streaming platforms, Spotify, Yikers Topic on YouTube, and that's Genghis Kong the Viking, GKTV on Spotify, iTunes, and all that good stuff. GKTV Topic, YouTube, and the personal YouTube channel is Yikers77. So y'all go check that out, shoot a shot, and it's all good. So once I have all my tracks lined up, I come to my gain staging part, and I'll just take them all the way to like minus 33 or minus 50, you know, because it's going to get louder in the mastering stage. I'm just doing this so I can have some headroom on my peak levels over here when it comes to the whole mastering part. So purposely I ain't do a whole lot of effects when I created the music in Fruity Loops. I was gonna decide to do it over here so I could show y'all how it's done in, you know, a good fun creative way. So these bells right here, let me see. I'm gonna open up. I'm gonna put some distortions on those bells, and I might just keep it on the main track, or I might make a bus window. But I think I just might do it on the main track specifically for this one. That's why I do it on the Fruity Loops. But I do want to have a reverb send for it as well, so it ain't gonna hurt if I just create this bus channel and name the bus channel whatever you decided, FX or FXX1. That's what I like to call it. But you can name it your own, whatever is easier for your workflow. Yeah, so I want some distortion on those bells. Another part of gain staging, right? So I want that to be like the same max volume signal as the original without when it's bypassed. And most plugins will give you a volume on the side to do your gain staging. Yep. And later on, once it's all said and done, I'll probably go back in there and do some really tactical and surgical EQing to get rid of those undesired frequencies, so it won't like just crap the whole mix. But you know, I'll get to that bridge when it gets there. Kind of did that there, just you know, just get it out the way real quick. All right, this bass line right here, Right. I want to put some more. Usually, like you can layer that to have that sub in it. But it has the right amount of mids. So I just went ahead and used that anyway. And I figured I'll add some subs on the post end, the post mixing, post mastering, post production end. Right? Saved often. Open up this one plugin from Plugin Alliance. Oh, boom. BX sub filter. That took a hot minute. I don't know if y'all can hear it, but you definitely will feel it and you definitely will notice it. You know, I still got my good mid sounding good. I might want to EQ that, but then again, it's already is where it is. You know, you have to make the decision. You have to make the decision when to hold back or, you know, when to go all in. Boosting up the low end without actually using the EQ. Once you upload any plugin, it's automatically gonna give the signal a tone in itself, and that's just straight default settings. Some plugins don't do that. Some plugins it's like pretty clear, so it doesn't. The signal is pretty much still pure signal, and this is just, you know, that just adds candy to it. All right. Alright, turn these kicks and snares down just a little bit. Put some EQ on that real quick. Just some light work. Open up a stock PROTOOLS EQ plugin. You know, it's really useful and it does what it always has to do. And it's not some stock in plugins is like but this one I use it like 90% of the time. Let's just put it that way. Raised up some low mid frequencies just to give that bell a little bit, some percussive, just, you know, kind of giving this a percussive type of thing. Because after all, like bells or pianos are percussive instruments. You know, things that you hit. Alright. Go to this counter melody. See how these waveforms is going like that? Like peak valley, peak valley, peak valley is because I have it on the when I created the song in Fruity Loops, I put a side chain on it, and that's, you know, when the waveform isn't side chain, it'll look like that. But if it's side chain, you'll see the breaks up in between, and it gives it the push, pull, push, pull, push, pull, pumping, 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 pumping effect. I know I'm going to eventually put some wow or some flutter or some, some wobbly on these. Could have done it in Free Loops, but I'm doing it in here. I didn't open it? Okay then. Open sesame. Take off this dust. Not gonna need it. Turned on this rare. I like it. Copy, copy, copy. But take these to the, take off that 1970 effect. I wanted to sound beefed up. The super thin, kind of thin, less beefy original. But this one, yeah, I did that purposely. Too much drag. Take that down slow. I prefer the older vinyl plug-in. At least it'll tell you what percentage you're at. Turn those down. I do want it to drag, but maybe I ain't much feeling it right now because I'm not used to it. Because I'm just now doing it, and it'll take my ears and my brain a second to get used to it. Save often, but I already did. Yep, I can live with it. Yeah, I'm still gonna need some EQ. It ain't setting right. In my taste. think it lost some of its volume, so I just raised it up on the plugin itself, so I don't have to mess with that anymore. It stays the same. Alright, let's get to this part over here. Pretty much. It could be wrong, but it just any way is not a wrong or a right way, you know, but there are good mixes and there are bad mixes. But you know, most of the time I like to go in my mid frequencies and my high mid frequencies and kind of start playing in these areas right in between, because it brings out, you know, if something is like too dull, then that's when I go to my high frequencies, or if something needs some bass or less bass, low frequencies. My lower mid frequencies, sometimes, like when I did for those bells, because within that frequency range it was bringing more of the percussions out for the bells. But back to this one over here. Sounds a little bit muddy. Took out some of the mud, boosted the frequencies, make it present. Not so much trying to cut through, because you have to figure out what part of the song is the one that's the energy. What part of, all right, the base of this song is like providing energy. The running bass, that's energy right there, right? In the bottom end, you know, funk tracks, or just like most tracks in general. This right here, that's the melody. You know, to get you through the sing-along or whatever the case may be. And this right here is a counter melody that plays somewhat within and against what's going on. These right here is from yeah. It's been this genre of music that's been I forget what it's called now. Dang, I forget the genre of that music though, but it's and most of the beats like dum 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 dum. Forget the genre of that music. Yeah, but I took those all, you know, because I was gonna play it, but I was like, hold on, I got a song pack with those already in it, so perfect fit, boom, and that's what I was looking for. Alright. EQ that bass. Take out some of that punch, because it's gonna pretty much get back in there. For some reason, when I be mastering, like the plugins I use, just for some reason will add more bass. And maybe it's because once I start gluing everything, because all these is not ran into like a all bus cello to control the overall volume of the mix itself. Except, never mind this master volume over here. This master volume is for the whole thing in itself. Probably confused, y'all. Probably even confused myself. Sometimes I will use a reverb for like the snares and everything else, but this time I want the snares to have their own independent reverb send. Yeah, these are some new ones that came in. Let's see what these do. Good. Got a whole drum set up, so it's perfect for drums. How awesome. Put another one on top of there too. I can dig it. And after I put like any effect on the bus sends, I always cut off the low end, because I don't want it to, because those reverbs is going to add extra, it's going to add extra bass, I mean. More sound produce more weight. Weight equals sound. Just use those same ones for that. Same EQ settings. Let's see. $19.20. Turn that up so it could send the feed over here. Input $19.20. Interesting. Very interesting. Let's just do that. See what happens now. Hey, no wonder. It's a recording channel. and it won't work if it's this is not inactive. But I'm not trying to record. All right, make sure it's a where you create that channel. Make sure it's a stereo, of course, and make sure it's an auxiliary input. All right. 15, 16. Nice. Word. So after all that, I got my whole session set up. I lined it up. I color coded it. I named it. Minimize those. I don't need to do any automation. So I can have, better view of my work page. Zoom in, zoom out, squeeze, expand, slide left, right, slide left, right. Your key prompt things over here, make sure that's active so you can do your key prompts. You can hit B for blade and that'll make the slice. But if you got that off and you try to hit B for blade, it won't happen. You'll just have to do it this way and do cut and be like, ugh. Now nope. Get used to the key. And I don't know all the keyboard shortcuts, but dude, I will eventually. And I'm on my edit page because I want to go to the part where everything gets most loud and most active at, and start kind of adjusting my ear. Alright, that's one of the loudest points of the song. And that's important, like when you're trying to master something, on the loudest part of the song, that's when you want to start raising your levels to. Is a good rule of thumb, because on the quieter parts of the song, and if you got your based on your compression or your volume or your limiting or your clipping, right? Okay, that should be like you got that to the where you think it should go. Then once it gets to the louder parts of the song, that shit starts crushing and brick walling and squishing and squashing and doesn't sound right. So you would want to start from the loudest part of the song. Word. Alright. Make an aux input. Call that all music. 1, 2. Highlight that one. I highlight it to the very beginning to the very end of all the tracks. I'm holding down shift and what is it? Shift and option. Oops, it's not shift and option. It's shift and command. Yeah, okay. All my music is absent, but I still have my my reverb sends still playing on the side over here, which is cool because I don't have those being bust back to a glue channel. But that's cool for now. I'll do that once I go to the mastering of it all. But for now, with those being on the side, that's cool. It's all good. Let me mute those out now. Because I want to possibly EQ the overall track. Maybe I'll use this. And with the master EQ, I just take some of the bass out. That's all I'm doing, really. Because, as I stated before, it's going to pretty much find its way right back in here once I start putting this master on. Alright, that's all my music. I'm going to create another auxiliary input. Get it off that color. Call it both. And that's going to be like both the music and both of the reverb FX sends. 3/4. Put this on 3/4. Put that on 3/4. Put that on 3/4. Raise the music up some so it don't sound karaoke-ish compared to the reverbs that's on the side. And as I explained, most of the time I like to put my reverbs on the side instead of just on the track itself, because it'll wind up sounding like this. And that's something I don't want, because I want my dry signal to still be present. So that's why I make a bus send for all my effects, and I can control how much the effect is going while still maintaining my dry signal. And reason why I put my music and my effect sends onto the both channel bus. That's when I'm going to add my compression, put my compression on. So it's going to compress. It's going to glue it. It's going to glue. Yeah, glue and compress. So I'm not compressing so much when I do my glue compressions. Alright, what I just did there was gain stage. When I first opened up the plugin, it lost volume, so I raised the volume up that I lost to match what I lost, not to push past it. If it's like a decibel or two past it, sometimes that's cool, because I can control it on the other end once I start mastering. But this is like the first parts of my mastering. I'm putting my bus I'm putting the compressor on the both channel right here. this meter over here at the top, you know, it's moving, which is cool. If it was like way over here, I wouldn't want that because I don't want it to do that much compression. Right? So after I did that, I can pretty much start making it louder now. You know, and once I print the track, I'll just name it. And I will assign that track its own bus number, which would be 5-6. And I will put this over to 5-6. But before I'm gonna do that, I'm not gonna put this on this video. And this video was just mostly explaining about getting the track in, start to finish. You know, doing your gain staging, color coding, project setup. You know, you want to work always from top to bottom. You know, top to bottom. Like, where's my drums? Because if you're like, man, if your kick drums was like way down here and your hi-hat was up there and your claps was down here, man, like, no, man, don't do it like that. Just set it up, boom, kick drum, snare drum, hi-hat, everything else. Then your bass line. It's always your bass line or your bass guitar is always under your drums. You know what I'm saying? If you're using 808, 808s is a drum kit. You know, 808 sits on top of the kick drums. Once you have all your music layered down, you know, and then all your whoops and yips and splashes and effects, those is like last on like the whole music. And if I did vocals, I would put vocals underneath that, and my vocals would be chorus, you know, the chorus first take and the second take if I'm doing dubs, and then if the chorus has the ad-libs would be underneath that, and then verse 1 and the verse 1 dubs and the verse 1 ad-libs, whoop-de-whoop, you know. And that's how it should be all laid down, so you can have a better grasp of your project, of your workspace. Right, so I did that, I uploaded it, I color coded it, I did my little chops up in betweens because I have multiple things right here, so that's why these got different colors going on. And then I pulled everything down, started off, I pulled everything down to 33% with the volume, because as you see, once I mastered it, I gained it back. And the reason why I do that, because I don't want so much signal going into my master chain. I'm always going to make up for it once I put my limiter or my clipper on, and then raise up the volume. And I'm not having the volume doing all the muscle. I'm not even having my clipper doing all the muscle. I'm not even having my compressor doing all the muscle. You don't want it to be doing all the muscle, man. You know, it's gonna sit right. You know, if you getting things in the sweet spot makes things sit right. You might have to overdrive nothing unless that's the sound that you're going for on a particular said track itself. You know, hey, I want this track to sound crunchy and distorted and or washed in reverb or whatever, or this vocal or whatever. Then, you know, or each individual track within the song. You know what I mean? You don't want your whole song to sound. But if you do, that's on you. You know, there's no right, there's no wrong way. There's an enjoyable way though, and yeah, you want your stuff to be enjoyed. So how about that? yeah, but no, I'm not. I'm about to pretty much, before I, you know, print the song to track, I'm going to pretty much go in this and maybe see if on this part right here, I might do a cutout, or I might do something like this. That's if the song needed though. So I'm just gonna play the song through and see what parts should I fancy up. So say if I wanted to make it sound like a certain four measure of a song, I wanted it to sound like it was on a boombox radio or a television. I'll kind of do something like that. I'll take down the volume, because for some weird reason it'll add volume once I have once I, you know, long story short. And like on the part of a song, I might do it like that, give it that, and which is pretty cool because it kind of sounds like these guys is like in the chamber doing their chant while this techno music or the dark synthwave is going on outside or next door, you know what I'm saying? So that might be cool, but I'm not going to use the whole thing. I just highlighted that part, but I will kind of play with that setting already. But yo, this is Gktv Yikers, Pro with the Tools, episode 10. I'm just going to call it episode 10. If I had 9 missed, well, I'll just come back to 9 and call it the Ghost 9. But yo, Gktv Yikers, all that good stuff.